We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Shaq Barrett, Miami Dolphins' newest edge defender. Definitely a need for the Dolphins with the Phillips and Chubb rehabbing from injuries. Probably won't be there for the start of the season. They desperately needed some edge help, so Barrett will be a nice, solid starter for the start of the season. When those two come back, be a quality rotational depth piece. I like it as like a one-year rental type move because he's on the older side, like being 32. But they needed this type of player. He was very productive actually last year. Going back and watching his film, he created a lot of pressures, won against some very good tackles. He's okay versus the run. I wouldn't say anything special there, but he does his job. Doesn't create any big time plays though. But yeah, as a pass rusher, he gets his pressures, gets involved. He was beating offensive linemen, understands how to do it. He loves using his speed to power. This is Lane Johnson, who's probably the best right tackle in the NFL, and he can do it from both sides, from left end, right end. He's definitely your Van Ginkel replacement. He actually has some similarities to Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel's a little more versatile with his alignment versatility, but they can both do some stuff from the edge that are similar. And then yeah, just that pass rush ability. He definitely is a savvy veteran and can still get after it. So I think I like it as like a one-year move. That you're not trying to. I think kind of like the Melvin Ingram 2022 thing, where he came in and was productive as that third edge, and they definitely needed this. And he wasn't overly expensive either for a premium position. So I like the move. He doesn't get credit for the sack here, but that speed to power is impressive. He understands angles. Hard sells this to the outside, which gets Lane Johnson to overset just enough. And now he times the stuff perfectly where he can get underneath those arms and create that power, that explosiveness, heavy hands too, to get him to open up and get the pressure on the quarterback. And he initiates this, which allows Hurts to work right into 96. So even when you're not getting those sacks, you're making some big time plays. And I think that's the type of player Shaq Barrett is. I feel like he's more comfortable as a left edge going in versus right tackles, which is the Phillips side. Typically, I mean, they all rotate around a little bit, but typically Chubb is as the right edge, Phillips left edge, and Barrett is a little more comfortable here. And he really loves that speed to power. He times this stuff up really well, kind of slow playing it off the ball here, and he really attacks that outside half of this tackle. And then once he does that, gets this guy to kind of lull him to sleep with his hands. He explodes into him. He sees he's playing patient hands, and then boom, stick that foot in the ground, get low. A lot of times when guys get really low like this, they can lose some of their speed, but he maintains that speed to power and just pushes him back into the quarterback, opens it up, forces Stroud to escape the pocket and have to throw it away. He makes a good play because his receiver ends up being open, but he was creating constant pressure in the backfield for this Buccaneers defense, and he had a lot more gas left in the tank than I expected, and he is still a good player. He was even better, a few years back, but definitely for, what they're bringing him in to do as that one-year rental guy, and he's going to be more of your third edge once Phillips and Chubb come back healthy. I think, you're happy with this move. Here we got Barrett, isolated on Laremy Tunsil. Dolphins fans know, very good player. He does a good job with his hands here, and then winning around the edge this time, and he draws the holding from Tunsil. He goes for that, when you get into a battle with a player like this, it's going to be very, very good, and he, tries to work up some different moves here with his footwork, mixing things up, attacking that midline of the tackle, and then tries to hit that violent chop down, and he kind of just misses, but he's still able to, violently work to the outside here, about to win around the edge, show off some bend. He just ends up getting kind of tackled, and he still gets a body on Stroud and forces him to end up escaping the pocket. So it's still nice to see him making effects on plays, even when he's not getting his sacks, and doing those types of things. Even when his hand usage, timing and placement wasn't perfect on the specific play, he still drew the holding call and ended up making some nice pressure on the quarterback. And he wins a few plays later, 3rd and 18, obvious passing situation versus Tunsil. Similar, literally this was just 2 plays later, and he does similar things with his hands, gets him to open up, and then swipes down. They end up recovering. He forces the fumble though, and that's nice to see. Works some similar hand usage here. He just hits it this time. Tunsil gets good hands into the chest. He swipes it away, able to open him up to that side. You're trying to beat this outside half. He's trying to get outside here, so he wants to beat that outside hand, which he ends up doing. Swipes it away, and now he's ripping underneath and able to open up his hips, throw that left elbow back so you can turn your hips and bend to the quarterback, and then show off that situational awareness to swipe down, knock that ball out. Those are the types of things I want to see. And yeah, just another. They brought in some nice mix of players. The 2 players I already did, Brooks and Brewer, still younger guys. They brought them on bigger contracts so they could be around for a while. And then they brought in some nice veterans that are on some cheaper contracts for 1-year rentals like Barrett and Poyer. And yeah, I just like how Dolphins have worked free agency so far, not overspending, but still getting quality players that can make an impact this year. Want to show this play just because you get to see him carry a tight end down the field. Don't think he's going to be asked to do this a lot in Weaver's defense, but just wanted to show it that he at least has some athletic ability capable of carrying a tight end down the field and not giving up a ton of separation. I don't think this is his game. He's more of that pass rusher type, but still overall decently impressive for a guy that's this type of player. Also think, he'll fit into the scheme pretty naturally with the Ravens, which playing as like a 3-4 edge type, which they'll be pretty versatile with his fronts. Barrett's used to playing, in many different looks, running twists and stunts, things like that. He'll definitely fit in fine. But yeah, just the ability to carry down the field, I think is pretty impressive and not something I was expecting to see on film. And not something I think you're going to see often with the Dolphins, but it's something he showed to be capable of. Barrett just does a really good job of really disrupting that pocket. Even here, when he's not using like speed to power, he's still able to use his length, natural leverage, and strength here. Like he tries to, swipe away, win around to the edge, sees that this guy's able to, do a pretty good job and get back in position here. So instead of, working past the quarterback, he decides to get underneath, use that powered leg drive this guy back, take advantage of maybe not so of a great anchor, and then push the O-lineman into the quarterback, disrupting plays. Very nice to see this type of work from Barrett. Even when your initial plan doesn't always work, he can still, show some counter moves, things within his bag. He's definitely a veteran. Another nice little sack here from Barrett. This one a little bit different. You can just see the oversight. I love the identification on this play, the recognition of what happens. This is something you see from time to time where the offensive lineman really hard slide to your side of the field, and sometimes you might think it's a run play. But you can just tell based on how the offensive line moved here that it's going to be play action and a pass. So he hard sticks his foot on the ground, takes advantage of this open space and this tight end working back across flow, and then gets upfield instantly, and then hits Will Levis in the backfield to make an ultimate impact play. Really, really like to see the awareness, the feel, understanding of offensive play concepts, and seems like he's still got enough athleticism in the tank for sure. Barrett's speed to power is very impressive, man. He just gets out of his stance, some good explosion, good first step quickness, and then he gets low and he maintains that power with really good leverage and pushes these offensive linemen back into the quarterbacks on a pretty consistent basis last season, and hits the quarterback there, gets a nice forces an inaccurate throw. The ball has to throw, he's not able to step into it. Gets a good hit on him too. Nice, just affecting plays, and his speed to power, really like what he's able to do. Whether it's attacking, the inside half of a man, he can do it from the outside half of a man, turn his guy open, put him to the ground too. That's really, he's abusing this Titans offensive line. Here's another forced fumble from Barrett, working out the left side, just winning another one-on-one with a right tackle. This time gets him to open up a little bit. I feel like this is something he's set up throughout the film because he loves to use that speed to power. And that's kind of what he's showing here. Little bit of attack outside the half the man, and then use that like long arm right there. And look, he's really like bendy right here too. His body lean is super low, but then he is able to swipe his hands away and work around the edge. So yeah, really good job setting this move up, showing like he might use speed to power, but then feels how this offensive line ends up playing with him, gets overextended, so he just uses his own momentum against him, gets by him, and forces the fumble, which his team ends up recovering. Then a few plays later on the next series, he's able to use a little bit of an inside counter, set this up like you go to the outside, feel the overset, work through the tackle and the guard, and get your hands up too, force the incompletion. I think he gets pass defense on this play. Love the different footworks, how he sets this stuff up. You can see him slow play this, even get a little bit of high pad level there too, and then give that hip shift to the outside, and he works in, splits the two offensive linemen, shows off some nice core strength. Sometimes when you get in this position, you got to have good core strength there as well, and he finishes through, gets the hands up, shows some good awareness, and finishes that play. I think a lot of Barrett's impact plays versus the run come when they leave him unblocked, and that will happen with as the edge. They'll leave you unblocked from time to time, especially when they're running like zone read, and he makes good decisions in these areas pretty often. He comes off, stays square, sees that he's going to give it, gets down, squeezes pretty nicely. It's a 2nd-and-1 situation as well here. That's where most of his good plays will come versus the run. He's not terrible when he has to take on blocks, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere where he stands out either. Another play where you're unblocked, and this happens on the backside of outside zone runs. They leave the edge unblocked all the time, and he just squeezes down the line of scrimmage, doesn't over pursue because he's the last guy in the cutback, but he sees he's got a great angle here. He can stay in phase with this running back, and he closes the gap here pretty fast as well, while also staying getting lateral down the line of scrimmage. Holds that to no gain. It's another type of area where he is solid versus run. Really like this sack versus the Bears. You can see a little wiggle to his game, little shiftiness. Sees that the tight end might chip him, so he slow plays this. Once he sees him start to leak out behind him, he gives him a little bit of move back to the outside. Sees he's going to have that space. Boom, good hand usage, and now bend, get to the quarterback. And it's Justin Fields, who's pretty athletic, tries to get away, show off some good motor speed, chase him down, and you get that sack to finish. All really, really nice. Just, he seems like he makes a lot of good instinctual plays in the moment. Last play that we're going to break down here, it's the last play of this Bears game. Barrett recognizes the screen there kind of late, but ends up getting the interception, which turns into a pick six. This is just like the type of awareness thing in the moment. It looks like they're running like some stunts work here. He's going to loop in late. He ends up recognizing screen that Fields is trying to dump this off, peels it off, gets a one-handed pick. Just great all-around stuff. Those are the types of things you want to see from your edge defender. So I feel pretty confident about him as your third edge. Just a really quality number 3 guy. So if you guys really make sure to like, comment, subscribe to see you next time. Peace.